Aloha and welcome to today's episode on the Chief 9. I'm Command Chief Master Sgt. Zandra Fox, the Command Scene List Leader for the Hawaii National Guard.
And I'm Jeff Hickman, Director of Public Affairs for the State of Hawaii Department of Defense. Welcome to this podcast. This podcast is the Chief's 9. It's a series that falls under our State of Hawaii DoD podcast, which is called Nakoa Exchange, Boots, Wings, and More. So we cover Army, Air, and some state issues. So we're brand new at this podcast, and Chief's 9 is our first series to feature it. So we're still kind of new at it. So thank you for your patience. We're getting better as we go along. So you guys are going to get really good questions and transitions. We've been working on it, right, Chief?
Yeah, we're doing well.
We've covered topics in the past episodes like warrior ethos, leadership, spectrum, resilience, time management, and more. We have 9 total topics, but there's multiple episodes because we have bonus content. Some went long, so we've broken into 2 parts. But please check us out on the past episodes, and you can find these episodes on YouTube Music, Apple, and Spotify. So if you want to just listen, you can, or if you want to watch, you can do that also.
So our hope is that our listeners out there get a aha moment or a nugget that they can take from our featured guest speakers. We have just some amazing people in the Hawaii National Guard, and just to share their leadership perspectives has been just an amazing experience for me. So if you have a chance, maybe use it as a professional development topic within your organizations, within your formations. Maybe even some of your family members can listen and learn a little bit about what we do here in the Hawaii National Guard. So today's topic, we're just going to get into it, is leading from the front, mentorship. So I have with me today my co-host, Jeff Hickman, the Director of Public Affairs, and our 2 special guests today. Thank you both for being here. We have First Sergeant Makaneole and Chief Master Sergeant Spencer. Can you guys give us a brief introduction of yourselves and share with us a little bit about your Guard story?
Sure. Yeah, I'll go first. So thank you for having me. Hopefully I can provide those nuggets that we're looking for. I first enlisted in the Hawaii Army National Guard my senior year in high school. My dad said, hey, take the ASVAB. I come from a long history of the military service with my dad, my uncles, got cousins. And so it seemed kind of the natural path for me to go at 3 years of junior ROTC, high school ROTC, proud graduate of Leleho High School. Go Muse. And I enlisted. Then I was after AIT, I came out as my MO was a 6'8" Juliet. I was aircraft armament missile systems repair. Got to load ammo and missiles on H-1 Cobras with the 193rd Attack Battalion at the time. Later reorganized. We split up to the medium lift company, Charlie 193rd, and then I was assigned to Bravo 193rd, which was the aviation AVIM unit. It's there where I then later was hired as a full-time federal technician. After about my first 6 years of enlistment, I was very lucky, very fortunate. And later then I had to reclass into 15 Foxtrot, which was an aircraft electrician, which I'm currently am today. Held various positions, shop supervisor, I was a section sergeant, I was a platoon sergeant, and then currently now I'm the first sergeant for Bravo Company 777 ASB. Yeah. Wow. So I got 34 years in 1990, 24, yeah, 34 years. So proud service, proudly served.
Thank you for your service.
Aloha, good afternoon. I'm Chief Master Sergeant Brad Spencer. I come from the 169th Air Defense Squadron. I'm the senior enlisted leader there. We're up at Wheeler Army Airfield, assigned with the 298th Air Defense Group, primarily responsible for the 24/7 air defense mission for the state of Hawaii. My story, grew up out on the Waianae Coast, lived out in Makaha the entirety of my childhood. Joined the Hawaii Air National Guard shortly after graduating out of Waianae High School. Okay, so public school grad. I was there, and did my interviews initially with the Hawaii Air National Guard. Back then, we were the 154th Composite Wing, so we weren't a group yet, and composite group. We weren't a wing yet. I'm sorry, I ended up doing a few interviews, found out about the unit that I am a part of now, was really interested in the mission, and decided to pursue that career field, which is the 1 Charlie 5 the Command and Control Battle Management program. And I spent my entirety of my career there up at Wheeler, doing multiple different types of missions and roles, primarily associated with the 24/7 air defense mission for Hawaii. I came in as an initial surveillance operator, learned all the positions that we had on the floor at that time, with different positions to accomplish that mission. Moved my way up through the enlisted ranks, became an NCO supervisor. Again, inheriting more additional duties as I moved up through my career within that unit mission, and again, growing myself along with my team and the personnel that I was associated with. I began full-time back in 1989, and I was a dual status air technician up until 2015, at which point I transitioned to the active Guard Reserve program, and have been there ever since. Again, becoming an initial surveillance operator, NCO, floor chief, a flight chief, section superintendent, again, progressing as I moved up until the position that I am today, which is basically the unit senior unit leader for the entire 169th.
So both of you guys have stayed relatively in the same units or sections. You're both located out of Wheeler currently. And
That wasn't by design.
no,
No?
good booking.
It's a guard thing,
Yeah.
right? So and that's the thing,
Small
one of the
world.
unique aspects of it, but totally appreciate everything we were able to get through the course of our careers.
Oh, no. All right. Well, I get to ask the first question. So today's topic is leading from the front, and mentorship is, it can almost be two separate shows. We're trying to just combine them. So at any point, if we ask a question about one, please feel free to talk about the other. First one is a nice, easy one. What does it mean to you guys to lead from the front?
Okay, so for me, that basically means the fact that I'm setting the example, or my leaders are setting the example when they lead from the front. It's about understanding, our roles as we are with regards to the unit, the mission, and our team members and our personnel. They need to be able to see what we're doing as far as leaders, understand the reasons why we're doing that, what it means for them to also, follow in those same practices, but really establish, a vision that, there's a reason, there's why we do things a certain way, there's why we conduct ourselves in certain fashions. It's because of the fact that we're all accountable, and that accountability does not stop at any particular level. It continues on. So with that, it's about ensuring that anybody that we come into contact, influence, or have an impact on is aware of the importance of what we do, why we do it, and the people that we care about as we go out doing our mission. So it's about, again, visibility and setting that proper example.
Setting the examples. That's a good start. I didn't mean to ask him the question. He takes all the good talking points.
Although
Yeah?
he explained it very well. I probably couldn't explain it any better than that. But leading from the front is so cliche, right? When you say setting the example, and the Army be no do, and doing all the right things in front of everyone to ensure that you're maintaining integrity, not just with yourself, but setting an example of what integrity looks like. Leading from the front can influence, like Chief was saying, that you can influence a lot of your soldiers and personnel within the organization to maybe even model themselves after yourself or others within the unit. Leading from the front does have that. That's what leadership is, right? Influencing others, But yeah, I couldn't say it any better than Chief. He's right on the money.
Good job, First Sergeant. I mean, you talk about setting that example, but also making sure you don't set that bad example, right? And growing these people that we don't think will be very conducive to the environment. So
Okay, so here's a kind of a bonus question off of that. Is it difficult to lead from the front?
Absolutely. Yeah. Just, trying to uphold the Army values constantly, on and off duty. Even when no one's looking, you still got to abide by those Army values. You still got to stick to those that integrity that you keep, or those your convictions as well, right? And, that character that you uphold. Uh, yeah, absolutely. As an NCO, especially as an NCO.
Do you find it hard? I mean, you're where you sit now. Everybody is looking up. All the NCO. You're the senior NCO. Is it hard?
It's hard. It's not hard when I follow my values and, my character, but it's always in the back of my head, like, oh, what am I doing? Is this the right example that I'm setting? Just the other day, I went on Hickam Air Force Base yesterday, and I met a soldier. He was the gate guard, but civilian capacity. He said, "Oh, Chief Fox, I know you. You visited our units 2 months ago at the 487." I said, "Oh, okay. How are you?" And so I just hope that whenever I came through that gate, if he was the one checking my ID, that I always was, nice to him. I try my best to treat everybody with kindness. Good morning. How are you? Have a great day. And so I hope that, part of me is thinking like, oh, I hope I was not having a bad day coming through this gate and annoyed at the fact like I have to wait. So, but it was a good conversation. So I think
Spotlight is
yeah,
always on.
spotlight. And I think just make sure in the back of your head, like somebody's always watching you, whether you think or not. So.
It leaves a lasting impression.
Yeah, so I think that's hard to know. Like sometimes, did I make the right choice? Did I say the right thing? Did I represent myself to the best of my ability? Even my kids and my husband, I have to kind of talk with them about that, leading from the front too, because there's examples too. And so my kids, represent who I am as a parent, a mother, and just like their fathers. So we have those discussions about it.
Is it hard?
So I would say yes and no, because initially, you have to understand, what you present as yourself. And I would say that even as a chief or anyone, it's understanding the image that you represent, the persona you push forward, whether it be, genuine or in practice. It's one of those things that you learn as far as the appropriateness of it when you go forward. So when you're having those interactions, obviously those questions roll through your mind, and it becomes, well, for me, almost second nature. Is the fact that, anytime I interact, and it doesn't matter whether they're civilian, military, or so forth, how I present myself, like you said, plays a big part on what people see, not just in me, but in the organization or in whoever I'm representing. So initially, I would say yes, because it's one of those things you really got to be on your nines to kind of just make sure that you're presenting the right image. But after a while, I would say for me, it became kind of a common practice, which hopefully, is one of those good habits that you do develop over the course of your career and realize that it has value. It does bring something anytime you interact with somebody on behalf of whether you're yourself or a unit or the organization. Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds like competence really helps as well. If you have the competence and experience,
Yeah, exactly.
it's a little easier. So for new leaders to lead from the front, a little bit of a challenge because they don't have the background. But no, great points on that.
And it's also having emotional intelligence, being very self-aware of the things that you do and the actions that you do. So, so the next question that I have is, how do you mentor somebody? And are there any mentors that you have? Do you have any good mentors in your current
Oh yes,
that you currently have?
yeah, absolutely. I've many mentors, past and present. But for me, the mentorship mentee, my first mentorship, mentor and mentee relationship starts when I was a platoon sergeant and mentoring my platoon leaders. So that's probably where that in fact that's exactly where my first experience with mentorship started with, and then of course carried on as a first sergeant, company commander mentorship. It's important that as NCOs we ensure that our platoon leaders and our company commanders are steered in the right direction, uh, not just ethically, but making good judgment calls and that kind of thing. They're always going to be seeking our advice. For me, I still seek advice. I have a golf group, and there's a few former first sergeants that are in that group, and we'll have casual conversations. And I'll ask, "Hey, I have a situation. Maybe you had one similar. What is some of your advice?" And they'll give me that advice, and I kind of see it from a different perspective. They help me see things from different perspectives. Uh, and I hope that I can present that perspective to my platoon leaders or company commanders as well. My mentorship for me started, what really opened my eyes to become a first sergeant was when I was asked to be part of the task force aviation. And I had no idea what being a staff or staffer would be like. Uh, Room was full of officers, and they ensured that, hey, we're gonna set you straight. We're gonna make sure your left and right limits are identified, and you're gonna operate within those limits. And it totally, what do you call it? I would say that's what probably prepared me the most to become a first sergeant, was being a staffer. Yeah.
That's good.
It's good that you don't really think about the relationship of the officer and NCO mentoring each other.
Yeah.
You always think senior NCO, lower NCO,
Yeah.
junior NCO. But
Yeah.
that's
Usually the perception, I think, for a lot of those situations where, you're either being mentored by somebody senior or, you're mentoring somebody junior, but absolutely can go different ways.
Yeah, and that relationship, mentor and mentee relationship, sort of happens organically. Like you're not really named, oh, you're my mentor. Sometimes
Yeah.
it just
Absolutely.
develops
Very
as
informal.
you, yeah,
Most-
as you
most times.
communicate, you experience,
Yes.
you get to know each other, and so then it's like, oh, you're my mentor.
Mhm.
So I think that's
And
interesting
those
too.
informal relationships, mentor-mentee relationships, usually have the most success.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree because you're seeking something from somebody that you see, and you're like, oh, I want their advice. I think they can really help me in that.
Like you said at the beginning, providing those nuggets.
Yeah,
Like kinda-
chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
you're hungry.
I am.
All right. From my mentors, where I've kind of feel I've been most mentored from the most part. If I look totally at myself, it starts with life. So my parents, a lot of times, they set the ground rules a lot for their kids, values and the way we conduct ourselves and so forth. I'll just always throw that out there first. I'm definitely a reflection of that development and totally proud of that as well too. Moving into my military career, then it's always been, somebody that has seen something in me that I didn't see, and kind of, put the thought in my mind that I have potential and so forth. And I've always kind of taken that information as, it's important for me to know, to grow, because I'm going to be in situations, of uncertainty, being unsure of myself, but realizing that somebody has already seen something in me, and made that determination that you'll get through it. I would say more directly, my mentors, more specifically within the particular position I'm in now as a chief. Hands down, I got to say the first person that has probably been the most significant impact is my predecessor. It was Chief Master Sergeant Randy Davis. He was a transfer from the Iowa National Guard to help our unit grow in a direction that we needed to for the benefit of our personnel, our leadership, and the organization. We found out that we had, similar careers growing up, but he brought something into it that I hadn't. He'd been a lot more on deployments, interacting as, a mobile type of unit in situations that had gave him a lot of insight. What he lacked was the ability to relate to his assignment at the time. He did his search, locked in on me, and made the determination that I'm going to be coming forward whether I like it or not. And I would say we had the conversation about my future positions in the unit, and came to find out they were very similar. We were both concerned and wanted to do the best for the organization, for our people, the people that we're working with, see them day in and day out. They deserve, the attention. They deserve the advocacy of an individual that is genuinely interested in moving forward positively. So we had a like commonality as far as our career development, and our intention, we found out moving forward, was the same. I would say he was probably the biggest influence on it, even though he'll say, no, you were there already. But again, that's what a mentor does. He kind of sees things in you and encourages you to kind of move forward, moving there. Additionally, I would say I would also have to look at my former group commander, Chief May Martin, who is now the the Air Guard Command Chief, she brought a different aspect into my growth as well too. And it was one of those things that I thought about, but never really took into heart as to what the position or what a chief does. And that was, to me, important when she said, look, we're the gatekeepers. As chiefs, you got to understand whatever comes in goes out, whether it be people, products, processes. We have to be able to ensure that they're in the best possible condition moving forward. If not, it's a reflection back on our unit, our organization, yourself as well too. So I would say she helped me kind of understand that. It was, and again, that was a kind of a foreign concept at a point, because my intent at that time was taking care of my airmen, my mission and so forth. But getting more into the bigger picture awareness of the organization, who sees things, what's your audience, who's going to see what comes out from your unit or your personnel. And that's what you need to be cognizant and aware about whenever you're doing things, because like I said, there's always going to be somebody looking at it, and you have to be able to ensure you're providing the best representation of that moving forward. And we have commanders that require, that same accountability and are looking for that same concept with their senior leaders. Therefore, if I put something forward, it's not just on me, it's on my commander as well too, the representation. And I can't afford to have, a leader, having to answer a question for something that I had the ability. I'm okay with them accepting the kudos and everything for it. That's awesome. That's on all of us. But if there is a discrepancy, a concern, then I got to be able to either provide the defense or understanding awareness behind it, or accept the consequences accordingly. So again, mentorship has been in so many different methods, and I would say the most currently one that I'm in my position has been through my two previous chiefs that I've had the ability to work closely with, and got me to where I need to be as well too.
I heard a nugget. Something he said really jumped out, and it was the ability to recognize potential in somebody when you don't know you have it. And when you said that, 3 names popped into my head of people who did that for me. So, sometimes you don't know that you're being mentored. I do think it's a challenge, though, and it's a skill for your previous chief to see that in you. Scour and go, okay, I think that's the next guy. Or next person. I'm gonna take care of that one, and let's see where it goes. And it might be wrong, but a lot of times the intuition is right. Right? Have you had that? Have you looked down and saw a junior NCOs and a couple of them just?
Oh yeah, just listening to Chief, like you said, sir. 2 names popped in my head as well. But yeah, it's that mantra, right? Officers listen to your NCOs, right? And then the NCOs like, don't let your commander platoon leader fail. Yeah. So it's a common mantra, Yeah. No matter what you go to, but yeah, I can, I think of, like for myself currently now, I have Command Sergeant Major Goodwin. I can call him on the fly. He'll answer his phone. If not, he'll return his call. And a lot of mentors, really, what you're really giving them is your time. Yeah, you have to remember, like, it's the time that they're asking for, whether you have it or not. At least you got a couple of seconds. My door's open. Hey, Top, I got a question. Hey, come on in. Let's close that computer. We'll put away that email. Just listen, or an email, some sort. But I'm always looking for advice when I have a dilemma of some sort where I got to make a decision, or help the commander make a decision as well. So, yeah.
I like that. I like how you mentioned listening, because as mentors, we're not always having to actively do anything or say anything. Sometimes I just want to come in and talk it out and help them process through where those feelings are. And I think I do that all the time.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm laughing because I can hear my wife saying, listen.
Actively
You need to listen more.
Right,
Yeah.
And that's another mentor that we all have.
Right.
The spouse,
Right.
yes.
It is.
What about you, Jeff? Do you have any mentors?
You know what? My wife got me to the places that I got to. I thought I'm capped out at captain. And she's like, no, go for this. And then in the civilian world, okay, when they ask you that question, how much are you worth a year? and you always want to, you don't want to scare them. And I would say a number, and she's like, no, go higher. You're more. But she saw that. I didn't, and I think others did. I didn't listen. And so sometimes it's hard to be the mentee, and you're a little stubborn and scared to take that chance. So also as a mentor, is you're not only giving them advice, but sometimes you got to push. And again, believe in yourself, and then you can get there.
Thank you.
So we talk about leading from the front. We talk about mentorship. Is there a difference between leading from the front and the back, and are there advantages to both? Because we're keen on leading from the front. It's a good way to do it. But what are your thoughts on leading from the back? Is that a thing?
Like
Yeah,
followership,
but
servant leading, right?
Yeah. Leading from the back. To be honest, I've never actually considered that concept. Yeah,
And if you're successful,
because
you lead.
yeah, right. But you would love to find someone who could replace you. If that's what leading from the back concept is, bringing someone up, next man up. So I could take a day off during the week or some sort of thing. Like, hey, you're in charge now today, or that. I mean, that's leader development, but that's it. It dives into mentorship as well. Yeah. It's still in that same circle.
It is.
Yeah.
I would say, okay, so I'll put it in an analogy to a degree. Think in a Hawaiian analogy. Canoe paddling, you think about it. Okay, you got 6-man crew. Okay, you got the number one man setting the pace, getting everything running, leading that team. Okay, but you also have a steersman who's also guiding that direction. So providing direction from the rear is a definite strength for a type of individual that you're looking as far as growing members. Another one would be kind of similar to like we think different analogy, a shepherd. Okay, you watching your group of sheep, or if you want to think about it, your members, seeing where they're going, what they're doing, and identifying the ones that are showing certain characteristics, initiatives, abilities, and going. I know where I can focus attention and abilities based off of what I see. But at the meantime, still guiding, the group in their abilities to execute what they need to, but just from a different perspective. Okay, and leading from the front, again, like we talked about previously, setting that example, being out there. Hey, what do? We watch this. We watch exactly what our example is providing to us. So being that mentor, that leader in the front. So I would say there's both different types of techniques or styles that assist in, and you can do it successfully from different capacities, whether leading from the front or leading from the rear. That's all.
Great answer. I thought there'd be more of a challenging answer. And
Yeah.
Canoe paddling,
That's
shepherds.
a great analogy.
I wish I was an analogy person.
No, I
but
need to
I'm
write
not.
some of these down.
Put that in
I
my
like
pocket.
See that's why we record this, because those sound, these are all tools. And Chief, in our last episode, people were saying such good stuff, and she's writing down these notes, and it's like, I wish I knew that when I was younger.
Yeah.
And so that's what we can do is we are young here, but there's younger people that might be out there, and for them to get this message, that's you're being a mentor to them and you don't even know it. So great pieces of advice.
Yeah. I think about how you said leading from the back. I look at it as just open to ideas and empowering those that are underneath you to help them feel like, oh, I can do it. I can do it too. And so I kind of look at that as leading from the back. Being a good followership, and being a good servant leader, those are parts of the leadership development that we strive to be. And so it's inherent. We're just all mentors.
Yeah. I think it's important too, as a mentor, to you give good feedback as well. So feedback has a lot of, if you're stuck and you're stagnant and you don't know, whether you're doing well or not, that feedback, you need that feedback so you can, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to go with our last question. So we like to always ask our guest speakers, what advice would you give to future NCOs about leading from their front, being a positive mentor, just anything that resonated with you today that you want to share with everybody out there?
Yeah. So I had a mentor a while back, and he gave me this advice. He was actually my wife's boss, and he was a sergeant first class in the Army Reserve, and we just meet up occasionally. And one time he asked me, he goes, "Hey, you should read this book," because I was stuck, I was stagnant with getting promoted. So I was kind of in that no man's land kind of thing. Is, hey, you should read this book, and I recommend it to everyone else. And if they haven't read it already, it's called "Who Moved My Cheese," and it's a little 39-page PDF. You can find it on Google. You can Google it, and it's when I read that, I said to myself, "Oh, okay. So if I can't get that promotion, what are the other additional duties I can take on for myself?" So I became a safety NCO. I went out and I was asked to be a sharp unit victim advocate, and then dived a little bit into EO. So it kind of, you know, I just pad my resume, so to speak, while I was stagnant until I could get that promotion. So my best advice would be to if someone's out there that sees a talent in you, and you're offered to either go to a school or a position or an additional duty, say yes. Say yes, because obviously someone sees something in you, that there's some type of quality in you that they see that could help the organization. Yeah.
So you talked about being stagnant, and you did these incredible things that are lateral, but it's building your base
Building your base to know.
to make it easier to climb.
Yeah.
Great
It's a
advice.
great advice.
Absolutely. Okay. So kind of jumping off this similar topic with you. So for me, my recommendation, and maybe it's cliche to a certain degree, but the concept of becoming comfortable what's uncomfortable. There's a lot of new experiences that you can be exposed to. However, people tend to be reluctant because it's foreign. It's something they're not, like again, well versed at or know much about it. But the only way that you grab the attention of your leaders, your team, your organization is by stepping out of your comfort zone a lot of times. I wouldn't say just arbitrarily or recklessly, but with the intent and understanding what the goal is. And a lot of times, for whatever reason, like I get it, life throws things at people, priorities get adjusted and so forth. But realizing the significance you have, the value that you want to provide, to your team, your organization, says a lot about you as an individual. And with that, I would say leaders will take notice. Leaders will pay attention to those that are, again, going above and beyond their routine duties and responsibilities, but paying attention and seeing the fact that they have that potential. So again, possibly seeing that in you, which you don't already see, and that's key. That's key. It's been through my career as well too. Not feeling sure or confident, but others have. Therefore, taking the appropriate steps when it was allowed or provided for me. Again, be aware that opportunities aren't always convenient. I said, again, figuring out your priorities. There may be an opportunity for you to contribute to a task, a initiative in some form. Really take the hard look at it and saying, not just for yourself, but for the team or for your mission, and where's the benefit coming from, and who's your target audience? Because if you got leadership seeing an individual stepping forward outside of their normal duties and responsibilities, that tells them something about that individual as well too. So again, just pay attention, be prepared when those opportunities come around, and make the appropriate decisions, so that your leaders understand that you possess those abilities, so they can focus, their attentions on growth and development of those types of individuals. That's been kind of my experience throughout my career.
That's good. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
They're comfortable. Yeah, I got a little nuggets here. I like how you said, like putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. Like, just take that challenge head on. That's just going to make you a lot better. I like how you look focused on, you know what, that's not my path now, not right now. But what am I going to exert my energy on, and what am I going to refocus on? I feel when I talk with soldiers and airmen, a lot of times they ask about career advice. So, always ask, like, well, where do you see yourself? And so what I tell them is be ready for that next opportunity versus don't wait for that opportunity and then you try to be ready. Take every opportunity you can within what the military gives you with education and all the classes, all of the free job training you're going to get. Get that stuff on your resume, be a continued learner, and just be ready. It's going to make you more competitive later and just make you a better soldier and airman, as we move into these roles. Well, I think we're going to wrap up. We had a lot of good information today. I thank you both for being here. Thank you for Sergeant Makaneole and Chief Master Sergeant Spencer for being here today and sharing those words of wisdom and the nuggets out there. And thank you, Jeff, for being here. And thank you to Andy behind the camera. So I'm Chief Fox. Thank you for joining us on our episode on the Chiefs 9 series. Until next time, aloha.
Aloha, guys.